You found Stryker of Enyo, and the following is an excerpt from my main video, I Play Every Xbox Live Arcade Game Part 2, which is a massive 3.5-hour experience that I encourage you to check out if you like what you see here. Days of Thunder Arcade. There were only a handful of delisted Xbox Live arcade games that I wish I had access to. I tried to download every free trial that I could as they would come out, and I re-downloaded every trial that was available in 2017 on the storefront. I tried to buy any game that was announced to be delisted that interested me, but for the most part, you never know when a game is going to be delisted. I never could find my trial for this game in my download history for months. Then suddenly it showed up one day, but it would give me an error whenever I tried to download it. I attempted this on 4 separate days, but it just wouldn't let me download the trial. The publisher must have requested to remove the trial completely, so I tried my best, sorry. This game is still really bad. Metacritic didn't even have enough reviews posted on it to give it a score. Game Ranking scored the PlayStation 3 version a 60%, but the 360 version got a dismal 25%. I'm not sure how accurate these so-called ratings are, but I mean, that's what it says. The footage you see is not mine. I couldn't play it, so I can't score it. I did find out that there was a retail version of the PlayStation 3 version bundled with a copy of the movie on Blu-ray, released back in June of 2011. This version is called Days of Thunder NASCAR Edition. It has more than 12 selected NASCAR Sprint Cup drivers, including Denny Hamlin, Ryan Newman, and Tony Stewart. The 360 version has no NASCAR branding or drivers. I would like to find a copy of this version and do a proper review later, but for now, let's just keep going. You know, I really wanted to oh no, Danica Patrick is on the field, look out!
And around she goes, into Kenson,
gosh.
up in the air and into the wall, hard.
Whoops. Sorry, that's the wrong iconic racing music. Let me fix that. Daytona USA. This was one of the biggest racing games of its time in 1994. It was everywhere. Many arcades had multiple machines linked up together for multiplayer, and it was a technical achievement that would take years before others would catch up. This was back before the internet became widespread, so we didn't have access to pornography as easy as you kids do now. Back then, sometimes all you had in the house was a bottle of Mrs. Butterworth's to get your urges out. I'm serious, ask Ron Burgundy in his interview tapes.
The other day I pleasured myself to the image of Mrs. Buttersworth. She got me there like I was on the Express A train. Bing, bang, boom! Talk about a river of ejaculate. A volume I had never seen in my lifetime. Now I know what the villagers of Pompeii felt like, where they were rained down on hot lava. I rained down on those villagers with frothy ejaculate.
I'm gonna be honest, Daytona USA has not aged well. The game is largely a nostalgic experience today, but newcomers will wonder what the big deal is about this thing. The handling is a bit clunky now. There are only 3 tracks, and the AI doesn't have much depth. If you grew up with Daytona USA, then you have an arcade-perfect version of the game, along with online multiplayer, all the original camera angles, both automatic and manual transmission, and a few extra modes. The 30 challenges are brief and introduce you to basic tasks like hitting a certain speed or reaching a checkpoint within a certain time, to more advanced ones like boost starting and sliding through a corner at a set speed. Despite its age, I still give it a 5 out of 10, but that's because it's very nostalgic for me, so it might deserve a lower score. You can see everything in less than 2 hours. It was delisted early in 2023, and it is backwards compatible, but it doesn't mean that you can still buy the game on newer Xbox consoles anymore. I never understood why we never saw the other Daytona USA games come to the 360 or the PlayStation 3. Then, as I was making these videos, we actually did see a Daytona USA 2 release on consoles for the first time. Well, the first time in the North American territory, anyway. It just so happened to be through Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name. The game is actually playable in the Club Sega store in the game, along with a few other games like Fighting Vipers 2, Virtua Fighter 2, and Sonic the Fighters. When I heard this, I quickly plowed through the game to get to the point where I could play the arcade games. It took me 50 minutes and I was skipping all the cutscenes. Sega apparently does not have the Daytona license anymore, so they had to change the name, now called Sega Racing Classic 2. Just rolls off the tongue. But make no mistake, this is the arcade version of Daytona USA 2. The emulation is good and it runs smooth, but you can't change any options in-game besides adjusting the button configuration. Maybe one day we can see a proper release with all 3 games in one collection. Daytona USA 3 has never officially been released on consoles and can only be played on Asian arcade machines today. Some of these are newer systems that are networked together and offer a multitude of arcade games to play solo, or you can challenge other nearby machines. These look awesome, but I don't know if they exist in other countries. The game itself isn't called Daytona USA 3 anymore. Instead, the rights are owned by a different company and it goes by Daytona Championship USA. But it looks fantastic being made in 2017. I mean, come on, Sega, we want these. Would you like to know more? Did you like the video you just watched? Then leave a comment, even give me a like. Then head to my channel for more. I got several series like Rage Quit 2, How the F Did I Die, and I even have a playlist for everything related to the I Play Every Xbox Live arcade game. You'll find all the parts, including higher bitrate versions of certain segments and eventually audio commentaries. If you want to see what I'm currently working on, then check the community tab on my channel. It's just right here. This is where I give occasional updates on what I'm working on and mention what's coming up next. If you want to watch the main video where this segment came from, then it should be showing up right about now, on the upper left side of the screen. The playlist for the entire series will be on the lower right. Thank you for any watch time that you can spare. The response on the series has been very positive, so thank you all.